Have you ever wondered why some people spend years working on themselves, healing, doing all the right things, and still feel like true love is nowhere in sight? They go to therapy. They read the books. They do the shadow work. They set boundaries. They practice self-love. And yet, year after year, the right person never seems to appear, while others who seem less prepared, who haven't done half the inner work, suddenly find themselves in the exact relationship they've always wanted. It doesn't make sense, does it? Until you understand what's really happening beneath the surface. Here's what most people don't understand. You are truly ready now. 7 signs from the universe that true love is approaching. But these aren't the signs you think they are. These aren't about being perfect or healed or having it all figured out. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in human psychology, spent his life studying what he called the self, this deeper intelligence within you that orchestrates your entire life toward wholeness. And he discovered something that changes everything about how we understand love. You don't just stumble into true love through luck or timing. You grow into a specific state of consciousness that makes love not just possible, but inevitable. There's a threshold, and once you cross it, everything changes. Most people think being ready for love means having good boundaries, loving yourself, and healing your past. And yes, those matter. But Jung discovered there are 7 precise psychological markers that appear when you've actually completed the inner transformation. Miss even one, and you're still in preparation. Embody all 7, and the universe responds immediately. Not because of some mystical law of attraction, but because you've become someone who can finally receive, recognize, and sustain true love. So if you've been wondering whether all the pain, all the healing, all the lonely nights are leading anywhere, pay close attention, because these 7 signs will show you exactly where you are on the path. And if you have all 7, then what you've been waiting for is already on its way to you. If something in you whispers that you might finally be there, I want you to do something. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, then go to the comments and write one simple sentence. I am ready for real love now, not to convince anyone else, but to declare it to yourself, because your consciousness is listening. And what you declare with intention, the universe mirrors back to you. The first transformation happens so quietly, you might not even notice when it occurs, but it changes everything about how you move through the world. Think about how you used to exist when it came to love. Be honest, every interaction was a test, wasn't it? Does this person find me attractive? Did they text back fast enough? Do they think I'm interesting, funny, worthy of their time? Your entire sense of self shifted based on who was giving you attention. When someone wanted you, you felt alive, valuable, real. When someone lost interest, you questioned everything about yourself. What did I do wrong? What's missing in me? Am I too much or not enough? You shape-shifted constantly. With this person, you were more intellectual. With that person, more carefree. You became a mirror reflecting back whatever you thought would make them choose you. You edited your opinions to match theirs. You laughed at jokes you didn't find funny. You pretended to like things you had no interest in. You downplayed your achievements so they wouldn't feel threatened. Or you exaggerated your struggles so they'd feel needed. You became whoever you thought they wanted you to be, because deep down you weren't sure who you were when no one was watching. Your existence felt validated only when someone else desired you. You'd wake up in the morning, and the first thing you'd check was whether they'd texted. Your mood for the entire day depended on the warmth or coldness of their response. You scheduled your life around their availability. You made yourself smaller or bigger, depending on what the moment seemed to require. Jung had a name for this. He called it projection. You were looking for your missing half outside yourself. casting your own inner beloved, what he called the anima or animus, onto people who could never actually complete you. Because completion doesn't come from another person. It comes from integration within yourself. But something's different now. And you might not have even noticed when it shifted. Someone doesn't text back, and instead of spiraling into self-doubt, you just think, okay, they're not interested, or they're busy. It doesn't change how you feel about yourself. You can be attracted to someone without needing them to validate that you exist. Your sense of who you are stays stable. It doesn't collapse when someone isn't available. It doesn't inflate when someone shows interest. You know yourself. In the quiet moments, in the solitude, when no one's performing for you and you're not performing for anyone, you know who you are. This withdrawal of projection is essential because you cannot attract healthy love while you're still using other people to tell you if you're worthy. The universe will keep sending you unavailable people, confusing people, people who can't see you clearly. Why? Because you're not seeing yourself clearly. You're still outsourcing your identity. But when you've withdrawn those projections, when you've brought that energy back home to yourself, everything changes. You become psychologically autonomous. And that autonomy is magnetic, because true love, the kind that lasts, the kind that doesn't consume you, requires two whole people, not two halves desperately seeking completion. When you stop searching for yourself in other people's eyes, you're finally ready to be seen for who you actually are. And that's when the right person can finally recognize you. So ask yourself honestly, do you know who you are when no one's validating you? Can you sit with yourself and feel solid, real enough? If the answer is yes, you've crossed the first threshold. And this shift creates the foundation for something equally important. Because knowing yourself intellectually is one thing. But trusting yourself in your body, that's where real transformation lives. There was a version of you that ignored every single red flag. You saw them. Of course you saw them. The inconsistency, the hot and cold behavior, the way they pulled you close and then disappeared, the excuses that never quite added up. You saw it all, but your mind talked you out of what your body was screaming. Maybe they're just scared of intimacy. Maybe they've been hurt before and need more time. Maybe I'm being too demanding, too impatient, reading too much into things. You convinced yourself that anxiety was chemistry, that the knot in your stomach was just nerves, that you were overthinking, and so you stayed. In situations that made you physically ill, relationships where you couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, where your nervous system was on constant alert. Because you didn't trust your body's wisdom. You trusted the story your mind created. The hopeful narrative that if you just loved them harder, understood them better, gave them more time, everything would work out. Jung understood that the body holds truths that the ego desperately wants to deny. The unconscious speaks through sensation, through dreams, through that gut feeling you can't explain, but can't ignore. When you override your body's signals, you're essentially telling your deeper self, I don't trust you. I'm going to let my conscious mind, with all its fears and fantasies, make the decisions. But now, something fundamental has shifted. Your body speaks, and you actually listen. You're with someone, and your stomach tightens. You don't rationalize it. You step back. You notice. You let that sensation inform your choice. Someone plays games with your availability, and your nervous system goes on alert. You don't convince yourself it's passion. You recognize it as a warning. And here's what's equally important. You meet someone who's emotionally available, consistent, and kind, and your body relaxes, deeply relaxes. And you don't mistake that peace for boredom. You don't create drama to make it feel more familiar. You let yourself feel safe. You recognize that true love isn't supposed to feel like constant anxiety. This somatic wisdom, and this reconnection to your body's intelligence, is the second marker that true love is approaching. Your nervous system has been recalibrated. It's learned to distinguish between the familiar and the healthy, between anxiety and chemistry, between someone who triggers your wounds and someone who actually sees you. You've reconnected to your intuition, not the intuition that's really fear disguised as gut feeling, but the real deep cellular knowing that recognizes safety, recognizes danger, recognizes truth, and you trust it more than you trust your mind's ability to explain things away. This is crucial because you'll recognize true love not by how it makes you obsess, but by how it makes you breathe. How your system says, yes, this is right. How your body knows before your mind catches up. But even with this newfound trust in yourself, there's still a deeper integration that needs to happen. Because life isn't simple, and neither is love. For so long you lived in extremes, either desperately wanting love consumed by it, every dating app open, every interaction analyzed for potential, your entire identity wrapped up in finding someone. You'd spend hours crafting the perfect message, analyzing their profile for clues about who they might want you to be, planning your life around the possibility of meeting someone. Every friend gathering became a chance to meet someone new. Every solo activity felt like a waste because you weren't out there looking, or you swung completely the other way. Convinced yourself you didn't need anyone. Built walls so high that no one could get close even if they tried. Told everyone you were perfectly fine alone and maybe you'd just be single forever, and that was totally okay when really underneath you were terrified. You wore your independence like armor. You overemphasized how happy you were alone, how much you loved your freedom, how relationships were just complications you didn't need. You couldn't hold both, couldn't want love and be at peace, couldn't desire connection and feel okay in solitude. It was all or nothing. Manic pursuit or defensive shutdown, grasping or rejecting, never the middle ground. You'd swing from one extreme to the other sometimes within the same day. Downloading dating apps in a moment of loneliness, then deleting them in frustration. Telling yourself you were done with love, then falling apart when you saw a happy couple. Because holding both requires something most people never develop: the ability to live in paradox. To say I deeply want partnership and I'm completely okay if it doesn't happen tomorrow. To feel I desire intimacy and I don't need it to survive. To know I'm open to love and I'm not waiting for my life to start. This is what Jung called the union of opposites, the ability to integrate seemingly contradictory truths without collapsing into one or the other. It's a sign of psychological maturity, of a self that's strong enough to hold complexity without splitting. And you can feel when you've arrived here. You can talk about wanting love without shame, without apologizing, without immediately following it up with, "But I'm totally fine alone." You can be single without needing to convince everyone, including yourself, that you prefer it this way. You hold both truths simultaneously. I am whole alone. And I want to share this wholeness. There's no more ping-ponging, no more manic energy followed by cynical withdrawal. You found the center, the place where desire lives alongside contentment, where vulnerability coexists with boundaries, where you can be soft and strong at the same time. This is what makes you ready for real partnership, because desperation repels. It carries an energy of lack of need, of grasping, and people feel it even if they can't name it. But peace that doesn't deny desire, but holds it gently, that attracts. It signals to the universe, to other people, to potential partners. I'm not looking for you to complete me. I'm looking to build something beautiful with another whole person. You're no longer energetically grasping or defending. You're open, receptive, available, but not desperate, not waiting, not making your worth dependent on whether someone chooses you. This is the energy that calls in true love. Because like attracts like in the law of attraction, consciousness attracts matching consciousness, wholeness attracts wholeness. So ask yourself, can you hold both? Can you want love deeply and be genuinely okay today? Can you desire partnership and still live fully right now? If you're there, you've integrated this essential truth, and you're closer than you think. But there's something else that happens at this stage, something most people try to skip over because it's painful. The confrontation with the parts of yourself you've spent years trying to forget. There's a part of you that you've hated. Maybe you still do. The part that stayed too long. The part that went back when you promised yourself you wouldn't. The part that ignored every red flag, every warning from friends, every moment of clarity that whispered, "This isn't right." You've carried secret shame about this part. Looked back at your choices and thought, what is wrong with me? Why did I accept breadcrumbs? Why did I love people who hurt me? Why didn't I leave sooner? And underneath all those questions was a deep, painful belief. I must be broken. Something in me must be fundamentally damaged to have chosen that. Normal people don't do this. Healthy people don't stay in situations like that. There must be something deeply wrong with my wiring, my judgment, my ability to love correctly. The shame kept you stuck because when you hate a part of yourself, you can't learn from it. You can't integrate it. You just keep repeating the same patterns unconsciously, trying to prove that you're not that person anymore, while simultaneously being controlled by the fear that you still are. You'd meet someone new and promise yourself this time would be different. But the same patterns would emerge because you hadn't actually healed them. You just buried them under shame and self-hatred. But Jung understood something most people never grasp. Your shadow, the parts of yourself you reject and deny, isn't your enemy. It's a repository of disowned energy, unintegrated experiences, and yes, painful patterns. But it's also where your power lives. What you reject in yourself, you attract in others. What you refuse to understand in yourself, you're doomed to encounter externally. So shadow work isn't about eliminating your darkness. It's about understanding it, making friends with it, seeing it clearly without judgment. And something in you has shifted. You can look at your past now without self-attack. You understand. That part of you wasn't stupid. She was loyal to old programming. She chose familiar pain over unknown peace because familiar felt safer. She stayed because leaving meant facing the original wound, the first abandonment, the core belief that love had to hurt to be real. She returned because she genuinely didn't know she deserved better. Not intellectually. You could say the words. But in her nervous system, in her body, in her deepest beliefs about herself, she thought that was the best she could get. Maybe even the best she deserved. And now, instead of hating her, you feel tenderness. Of course you stayed. You didn't know any other way. Of course you tried to love him into changing. You'd been taught that if you just loved hard enough, it would heal everything. Of course you ignored the red flags. Your survival once depended on ignoring red flags, on making dangerous situations feel safe. This compassion, this ability to hold your past self without judgment, is one of the most powerful signs that true love is approaching. Because shame keeps you repeating patterns unconsciously. Compassion allows you to choose differently. When you stop hating yourself for the past, you stop unconsciously recreating it. Your capacity to love the wrong people deeply is the exact same capacity that will allow you to love the right person with that same depth. The difference is, now you have discernment. Now you can direct that love towards someone who can actually receive it, honor it, match it. When shame surfaces now, and it will, you don't spiral. You witness it. You understand where it came from. You hold yourself through it. And that's integration. That's the shadow work that actually transforms you. Not performing healing, not talking about boundaries. Actually becoming someone who can choose differently because you've made peace with every version of yourself who couldn't. Here's something Jung knew that most people miss. When you love yourself, when you truly accept every part of your story with compassion, you're not just healing yourself. You're changing the energy you bring to every interaction. When you love others, you are loving yourself. Because there is no real separation between how you treat yourself and how you treat the world. The kindness you couldn't give yourself, you couldn't genuinely give to anyone else either. It was always conditional, always tinged with the fear that if they really knew you, they'd see what you see. Something unworthy. But when you've made friends with your shadow, when you've embraced the parts of yourself you once rejected, you can finally love others without agenda, without needing them to prove you're lovable, without using them to fill the void you're afraid to face. And that's when love and the universe align. That's when the right person can find you. Because you're no longer hiding. You're here, fully present, fully yourself, ready to be seen. Before we go further, if these truths are landing in your soul, if you're recognizing yourself in this journey, take a moment to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Then tell me in the comments which shift has touched you most deeply so far. Now let's talk about something that might make you uncomfortable. Because there's a difference between understanding these concepts and actually living them. And that gap is where most people get stuck. There was a phase where your healing was loud. Every breakthrough got announced. Every boundary you set became a social media post. Every therapy session insight turned into a story you told at parties. You talked about your growth constantly. Affirmations on the mirror, quotes about self-love plastered everywhere. Long captions about how you were choosing yourself now, how you'd never settle again, how you were a phoenix rising from the ashes. You needed people to know you were changing. You needed witnesses to your transformation. You needed the validation that, yes, you were doing it right. You were healing properly. You were becoming the person you were supposed to be. Your healing became your identity. You were the person who was working on themselves, the person who knew all the right terminology, who could talk about attachment styles and trauma responses and nervous system regulation. And look, there's nothing inherently wrong with sharing your journey. But there's a difference between authentic sharing and performing transformation, between processing out loud and using healing as an identity, between doing the work and talking about doing the work. When healing becomes performance, it's no longer about integration. It's about image management. The performance phase is often necessary. It's how you convince yourself that you're changing. It's how you create accountability. It's how you build a new story about who you are. But it's not the final stage. Because at some point, if you're truly integrating, your healing becomes silent. Now your transformation happens in private moments that no one witnesses. Someone crosses a boundary, and you don't make a speech about respect and self-worth. You just quietly remove yourself from the situation. You feel an old pattern rising, that familiar pull to chase someone who's pulling away, and you breathe through it without calling your friends to process it for 2 hours. You just let it move through your body and make a different choice. Your healing is in your nervous system now, not in your vocabulary. When you're triggered, you pause. You feel what's happening in your body. You recognize, oh, this is the old wound speaking. And you respond to yourself with compassion instead of reacting to the other person with old programming. And no one sees it. No one congratulates you. But you know. You feel the difference. This is embodiment. This is what Jung meant by individuation. True transformation is internal, often invisible, deeply private. The self develops in solitude, not for an audience. Real change doesn't need witnesses to be valid. And here's why this matters so much for love. When you're still performing your healing, you're not actually available for relationship. You're in a relationship with your healing process. Your identity is wrapped up in being someone who's growing, evolving, transforming. And unconsciously, you'll choose situations that keep you in that story. Partners who trigger you so you can practice your boundaries. Relationships that challenge you so you can demonstrate your growth. But when you've actually integrated the transformation, when it's just who you are now, you're finally available for something different. A partner won't be an audience for your healing theater. They'll be an actual person you're building an actual life with. You won't need them to validate that you've changed. You'll just be changed. And they'll meet you there. So notice, are you still announcing every shift, still needing external validation that you're evolving, or has your growth become quiet, private, embodied? Has it moved from your mind into your bones? If it has, you're ready. Not for someone who can witness your transformation, for someone who can meet you in your already transformed state. And when you reach this level of embodiment, something extraordinary starts happening. The external world begins speaking to you in ways you can't ignore. Pay attention, because this next shift is how you'll know you're in the final stages of preparation. You've probably noticed that when you're aligned with something, when you're truly ready for a shift, reality starts speaking to you. Not in vague coincidences you're desperately grasping at for meaning, but in synchronicities so specific, so perfectly timed that you can't dismiss them. You think about a question, something you've been wrestling with about love or readiness or what you truly want, and within 24 hours, the answer appears. A friend texts you an article that addresses exactly that question. Not a similar topic. That exact question using language that mirrors your internal dialogue. A podcast episode comes on shuffle that speaks directly to what you needed to hear, as if the host was in the room with you when you were thinking those thoughts. A stranger in line at the coffee shop says something that lands like a message meant specifically for you. And you both pause, feeling the strangeness of the moment. Books fall open to the exact page you need. And I don't mean you're flipping through looking for answers. I mean you pick up a book you've had for years, and it literally falls open to a passage that speaks directly to where you are right now. You keep seeing the same numbers, the same symbols, the same themes appearing in completely unrelated areas of your life. Maybe it's a specific phrase that shows up in a conversation, then in an email, then on a billboard. The repetition feels intentional. Dreams get clearer, more instructive, almost directive. You wake up with insights that feel like they came from somewhere beyond your conscious mind. And here's what's different from before. You're not making these connections out of desperation. You're not assigning meaning to random events because you need to believe something's happening. These synchronicities have a quality of rightness, a felt sense of, yes, this is real. This means something. The universe is communicating. Jung spent years studying this phenomenon. He called it synchronicity, meaningful coincidence that reflects your inner psychological state. When you're close to a breakthrough, when your consciousness is shifting in fundamental ways, the outer world mirrors it back to you. Not through cause and effect, but through meaning. The internal and external are connected in ways our rational minds can't fully explain. And it's intensifying now, isn't it? People from your past reappearing, not to restart old stories, but to show you how different you are. You run into an ex or someone you used to be entangled with and you feel nothing. No pull, no unfinished business. Just clear recognition. That was a lesson, not my destiny. And you're grateful for the confirmation. Doors closing with impossible timing. You almost pursue some opportunity, and it gets blocked, delayed, falls through. And later you see why. It would have derailed you, taken you backward, kept you in an old pattern. The universe or the self protected you. without you even knowing you needed protection. New opportunities appearing that have nothing to do with romance, but everything to do with becoming who you need to be. A job offer that requires you to step into more confidence. A creative project that asks you to trust yourself. A friendship that feels unusually nourishing and safe. Your external life is being reorganized to match your internal readiness. You might feel it as an inner knowing that's hard to articulate, but absolutely real. You're in a transition chapter. You can sense it. Something's shifting, not just in you, but around you, in the field of possibilities, in what's available to you now that wasn't before. You wake up with more hope, even though your circumstances haven't dramatically changed. You just know. I'm not going to repeat the old story. Something new is coming. This isn't delusion. This isn't wishful thinking. This is your consciousness recognizing that you've reached a threshold. The inner work is complete enough. The alignment is there. And now the outer reality, including the right person finding their way to you, is catching up to match what you've become internally. Synchronicities intensify right before major life shifts. It's one of the universal signs of love approaching, the self preparing you, reality confirming you're ready, your inner and outer worlds beginning to merge in new ways. If you're experiencing this, and I mean truly experiencing it, not forcing meaning onto random events, then you're close. Closer than you might think. But there's one final transformation, one last threshold to cross, and it's the one most people never reach, because it requires something radical, something that goes against everything you've been taught about, waiting for love to find you. This is where everything we've talked about comes together into a single, undeniable truth. You can have all the previous signs. You can have withdrawn your projections. You can trust your body. You can hold paradox. You can have integrated your shadow. You can have embodied your healing. You can be receiving synchronicities and still not magnetize true love. Because there's a difference between being ready for love and becoming the vibration of the love you want to experience. Think about it. You can be healed. You can have boundaries. You can understand your patterns. You can be whole in your solitude. But if you're still waiting for love to arrive before you start living like someone who's deeply loved, you're sending a mixed signal to the universe. Because energy doesn't lie. You can say you're ready. You can believe you're ready. But if the way you treat yourself, the way you move through your days, the way you talk to yourself in private moments is still marked by neglect, by harshness, by a sense that your life doesn't really matter until someone else joins it, then that's the vibration you're emanating. And here's what most people don't understand about true love and how it actually arrives in your life. It's not about thinking positive thoughts and manifesting a partner. It's about becoming the consciousness you want to attract, like calls to like, not through magic, through resonance, through the simple truth that when you are love, when you embody the energy of deep care, presence, tenderness, commitment to yourself, you become magnetic to someone operating at that same frequency. When you're waiting for love, when your energy is marked by lack and longing, and a sense that life hasn't really started yet, you attract people who are also waiting, also lacking, also not quite there. So what does it mean to become the energy of true love before it arrives? It means you treat yourself the way you'd treat a beloved partner. You speak to yourself with kindness. When you make a mistake, you don't attack yourself. You respond with the same compassion you'd offer someone you adore. You don't call yourself stupid or worthless or unlovable. You say, hey, that didn't go well. But you're learning, you're growing, you're doing your best. You care for your body, not because you're trying to be attractive to someone someday, but because you value yourself right now. You move in ways that feel good. You eat foods that nourish you. You rest when you're tired, instead of pushing through to prove something. You dress in clothes that make you feel alive, even if you're just going to the grocery store. Even if no one will see you today. You create beauty in your space, even though no one else sees it. Fresh flowers on the table, not for a special occasion, but because you deserve beauty in your everyday life. Candles lit for dinner, even though you're eating alone, because the ritual of caring for yourself matters. Clean sheets that smell good, because climbing into bed should feel like a gift you give yourself. Morning rituals that ground you. A cup of coffee made with intention. Moments of stillness before the day begins. Little acts of love for yourself that aren't performed for anyone's eyes, but your own. You make your life feel sacred because it is. You don't need a witness to make it matter. You're not doing these things so you can post about them or tell someone about your self-care routine. You're doing them because you genuinely believe you deserve them. Because your life, even in its ordinary moments, is worth celebrating. You have conversations with yourself that are real, playful, tender. You laugh at your own thoughts. You encourage yourself through challenges, the way you'd encourage a dear friend. When you're facing something difficult, you don't berate yourself for being scared. You say, I know this is hard, but I believe in you. You celebrate your own wins, not waiting for someone else to notice or validate them. That project you finished, that boundary you held, that moment you chose differently. You acknowledge yourself. You're not just tolerating your own company while you wait for someone better to show up. You genuinely enjoy being with yourself. You take yourself on dates, to museums, to cafes, to parks. Not as a consolation prize for being single, but because you want to experience beautiful things and you're worthy of your own time and attention. You have full conversations with yourself, not just anxious spirals, but real dialogue. Checking in, asking what you need, listening to the answer. Your days have meaning that isn't dependent on romantic love. You're building something, creating something, learning something, contributing something. Your life feels full not because it's busy, but because it's intentional. You've invested in becoming someone you're proud to be. And if a partner never comes, you'd still be okay. Not resigned, not settling. Actually okay. This is what Jung meant when he talked about the sacred marriage within. The anima and animus, the inner masculine and feminine united inside yourself first. You've stopped looking for your other half externally because you've integrated it internally. You've married yourself. And now you're not seeking completion. You're seeking conscious partnership between two already whole people. And people feel this in your presence. Even if they can't name it, they sense something different about you. You're not trying to prove anything. You're not performing confidence or playing hard to get or managing your image. You're just present, grounded, alive in yourself. And that creates safety. People feel safe in your energy because you're safe with yourself. This is the final threshold. And it's why this sign is the most important. Because you cannot attract what you are not. If you're waiting for love, you attract waiting. If you are loved to yourself, to your life, to the world around you, you attract love. Not as a reward, as a natural reflection of your state of being. Here's what Jung discovered about human psychology and personal development. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your vibration, to the energetic frequency you're operating from. When you love yourself enough, when you've built that inner strength, when you've become your own safe place, your own source of tenderness, your own greatest supporter, where the universe shifts everything to match that frequency. Not because you've earned it, not because you've checked all the boxes, but because you've fundamentally changed who you are. And the external world, including the people who enter your life, always mirrors your internal state. Always. So here's the question. Are you being the love you seek right now? Today? In how you treat yourself, in how you structure your days, in the energy you bring to your own life. Are you speaking to yourself the way you'd want a partner to speak to you? Are you creating the kind of home environment you'd want to share with someone? Are you living with the presence and intention and care you'd bring to a relationship? If the answer is yes, then you're not just ready, you're magnetic. And the right person, someone who's also done this work, who's also become whole, is being drawn to you right now. Because that's how the universe actually works. Not through desperate manifestation or forced affirmations, but through becoming, through embodying, through being so full of love for yourself and your life that you naturally overflow into everything and everyone around you. When you love others, you are loving yourself. When you give kindness, presence, generosity to the world, you're reinforcing your own worth. You're telling yourself through your actions, I am someone worthy of love. I am someone capable of love. I am love. And that energy, that Carl Jung relationship with yourself, that inner wholeness, it creates a field around you, an electromagnetic pull. People are drawn to it without knowing why. Opportunities appear, doors open, and the right person, the one who's been doing their own work, who's been becoming whole in their own way, they feel that pull too. They recognize something in you, a mirror, a match, someone who isn't looking to be saved or to save, someone who's ready for real partnership. You are you, fully, authentically, unapologetically, and the choice is yours. The choice has always been yours, to wait for someone else to make you feel worthy, or to claim your worthiness right now, to postpone living fully until love arrives, or to live so fully that love has no choice but to join what you've already created, to keep searching outside yourself for completion, or to become so complete within yourself that partnership becomes an expansion, not a rescue. This is the final sign, the ultimate marker that true love is not just approaching, but inevitable. Because you've stopped waiting for it to happen to you. You've become the very thing you've been seeking. And when two people who've reached this level of wholeness finally meet, it's not about filling gaps. It's about building something neither could build alone. It's about choosing each other every day, not from need, but from genuine desire to create together. Let's look at what you've actually accomplished if you have all 7. Because this isn't a checklist. This is a map of complete psychological transformation. A journey through your own depths that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. You've withdrawn your projections. You're no longer looking for yourself in other people's responses to you. That's autonomy. That's psychological freedom. You trust your body's wisdom. Your somatic intelligence guides you toward what's healthy and away from what isn't. That's embodied truth. That's listening to the deepest parts of yourself. You can hold paradox, desire and peace, longing and contentment, independence and intimacy. That's psychological maturity. That's the mark of a self that's strong enough to contain complexity. You've integrated your shadow, made peace with every version of yourself who didn't know better. That's compassion and self-forgiveness. That's understanding that your past doesn't define your future. You've stopped performing transformation and started living it. Your healing is embodied, not announced. That's authentic change. That's integrity between who you are in public and who you are in private. The universe is sending you unmistakable synchronicities. Reality is confirming your readiness. That's alignment. That's the external world mirroring your internal shifts. And you've become the energy of the love you seek. You are to yourself what you want a partner to be. That's magnetic wholeness. That's the culmination of everything. This is individuation applied to love. This is what Jung meant when he talked about becoming whole. Not perfect, not without wounds or triggers or difficult days, but integrated, conscious, no longer at war with yourself, no longer abandoning yourself, no longer using others to feel complete. And when you reach this state, true love isn't just possible, it becomes inevitable. Not because the universe owes you, but because you've become someone who can recognize it when it appears, receive it when it's offered, and sustain it when it requires you to stay conscious and present and committed. Most people never get here. They do some healing and think that's enough. They set some boundaries and wonder why love still feels hard. They wait for someone to choose them instead of becoming someone who has already chosen themselves so completely that partnership becomes a choice, not a need. But you, if you have all 7 signs, you've done the work most people avoid their entire lives. You've faced your shadow. You've integrated your past. You've learned to trust yourself. You've become whole. And that matters. Not because it guarantees a fairy tale, but because it means when love comes, and it will, you'll be able to actually live inside it without destroying it or yourself. So what happens when true love finally arrives, after you've embodied all 7 signs? Let me be honest with you. It won't be perfect. It won't be painless. Real love, the kind that lasts, the kind that transforms you, will trigger every remaining edge you have. It will ask you to grow in ways you didn't know you still needed to. It will require you to stay conscious when every old pattern wants to take over. But here's what will be fundamentally different. You won't have to abandon yourself to stay in it. You won't have to override your body's truth to make it work. You won't have to perform or pretend or shrink. You won't confuse anxiety with passion or chaos with chemistry. Your nervous system will tell you this is different. Your body will relax in their presence instead of obsessing. You'll feel safe enough to be yourself, all of yourself. The messy parts, the uncertain parts, the parts you used to hide because you thought they'd make you unlovable. And they won't run. They won't punish you for being human. They'll meet you there. Conflict won't mean abandonment. Disagreement won't mean the end. You'll be able to say that hurt me without it becoming a referendum on the entire relationship. You'll be able to ask for what you need without feeling like you're too much. Growth will happen together, not at each other's expense. This is what Jung envisioned when he talked about conscious relationship. 2 individuated souls choosing partnership, not because they need each other to feel whole, but because they want to create something together that neither could create alone. Love as a spiritual practice, as a crucible for continued becoming, as 2 people making each other more themselves, not less. You'll know it's true love, not because it's easy, but because staying in it doesn't require you to betray yourself. Because the person you are in the relationship is the person you've worked so hard to become. Because you can be in deep intimacy and still maintain your autonomy. Because you're building something real with someone who's also done the work to be ready. And that's how you'll know the universe wasn't ignoring you all this time. It was preparing you. Through every painful lesson, every person who couldn't meet you, every night you spent alone wondering if something was wrong with you, every moment you chose yourself when it would have been easier to settle. All of it was getting you ready. Not just for any love, for true love. The kind that requires all 7 signs to recognize and sustain. So let me ask you something. Place your hand on your heart if that feels comfortable. Take a breath and ask yourself this. If I truly believed that true love is already approaching, that the universe is moving it toward me, even now, how would I treat myself differently today? Would you still answer those half-hearted text messages from someone who only remembers you when they're bored? Would you still rewrite your entire worth based on whether one specific person chooses you? Would you still talk to yourself like you're failing at life because you're not in a relationship yet? Would you still settle for almost just to avoid feeling uncomfortable for a little while longer? Or would you start walking, talking, choosing living like you're already the partner of the love you want? Because here's what most people miss. How you show up for yourself right now is how you're rehearsing for that relationship. The care you give yourself today is the care you'll be able to give and receive tomorrow. The love you withhold from yourself is the love you'll struggle to accept from someone else. The criticism you level at yourself in private is the criticism you'll expect from a partner even when they're not giving it. You're not just waiting for true love to find you. You're becoming the person who can live inside it. You're building the capacity to receive it, to recognize it when it appears to sustain it through the inevitable challenges. And that's sacred work. That's the kind of personal development that actually transforms lives. That's what separates people who repeat the same patterns forever from people who finally break free and create something new. That's what turns suffering into wisdom. That's what makes all the pain worth it. If these 7 signs resonated with you, if you saw yourself in this journey, go to the comments and tell me which one landed deepest. Was it withdrawing your projections and finding yourself again? Trusting your body's wisdom over your mind's stories? Learning to hold paradox without splitting? Befriending your shadow and making peace with your past, embodying transformation instead of performing it? Receiving synchronicities that confirm you're on the right path? Or becoming the very energy of love itself? Your recognition might be exactly what someone else needs to see tonight. And remember to subscribe if you haven't yet. Turn on notifications. Because content like this, rooted in Jung's profound understanding of the human psyche, doesn't just entertain. It changes how you see yourself and what's possible for your life. You are truly ready now. Not because you're perfect, not because you'll never be triggered again, not because you love yourself 100% of the time, but because you've become whole enough to share wholeness, because you've done the inner work that most people spend their entire lives avoiding, because you've faced your shadow and integrated your past and learned to choose yourself even when it was hard. And somewhere out there, another soul has been walking this same path through their own loneliness, their own lessons, their own dark nights of wondering if love would ever come. They've been doing their work too, becoming whole in their own way, preparing themselves to meet someone who's also ready. And when your paths finally cross, you'll recognize each other, not as saviors, not as people who will complete the missing pieces, but as 2 sovereign beings who've chosen to create conscious partnership. 2 people who can say, I don't need you to survive, but I want you in my life. I'm whole alone, and I choose to build something with you. That's the kind of love these 7 signs prepare you for. Not the love that consumes you, the love that expands you, not the love that fixes you, the love that sees you and chooses you anyway, not the love that completes you, the love that celebrates the wholeness you've already become and invites you to keep growing together. And you'll know, not because it's perfect or painless, but because for the first time in your life, you won't have to abandon yourself to stay in it. You won't have to override your truth to make it work. You won't have to shrink or perform or pretend. You'll just be fully yourself, deeply loved, finally home. That's how you'll know the universe was never ignoring you. It was shaping you, preparing you, getting you ready for the love you always deserved, but couldn't receive until you became who you are now. And now, with all 7 signs present, you're ready. The universe knows it. Your soul knows it. And soon the right person will know it too. You are truly ready now. 7 signs from the universe that true love is approaching. And it's not approaching some distant version of you. It's approaching you. Right here, right now, exactly as you are. When you love yourself enough, when you've built that inner strength, when you've become whole within yourself, that the universe responds. It has to, because you've changed the frequency you're operating from. You've become someone who doesn't just hope for love. You embody it. You are it. And the choice, as it's always been, is yours. To keep waiting, or to start being. To keep searching, or to start becoming. To keep hoping someday you'll be ready, or to recognize that you are ready. Right now, in this moment, with everything you've survived and integrated and become. You are you, fully, beautifully, powerfully, and the love you seek is already on its way. Not because you've earned it through suffering, but because you've become it through transformation. And that changes everything. Ready?